Hey everyone, it's Shirley, and for today's video I have a really exciting collab with Apollo from Fiona Apollo and Mark from Whatchamarkcallit. During this most spooky of seasons, the three of us decided to get together to give all of you watching something special.
We've come together to bring you 3 stories that mean a lot to us,
and that exemplify the heart of the season.
With that in mind, we want to welcome you all to our very first Halloweeny Spooktacular Collabathon.
If you enjoyed that, make sure to go check out the other videos in our collab. Head on over to my channel and hear me info dump about one of my favorite places and now discontinued Halloween events.
or head to my channel where I talk about the Pendle Witch Trials, the Walmart mid-shelf alternative to the Salem Witch Trials.
And without further ado, let's get into my video. I'm sure everyone's got some interesting stories about their neighbors. I personally have quite a few. But my favorite stories come from Halloween. I think there's something about Halloween that just brings neighborhoods together. It's something about meeting a bunch of people who maybe you saw once or twice that year while walking your dog, who are now, all of a sudden, knocking on everyone's doors and risking getting jump scared in the hopes of getting candy? How wild is that? While some neighborhoods have families trying to outdo each other with Christmas decorations, in my childhood neighborhood, Halloween's always been the holiday where everyone goes all out and has the most iconic surprises in store. It's to the point where even though I've never really talked with these people, outside of saying trick or treat once a year, whenever I'd pass their houses, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's the house where Bush Guy lives. And before the algorithm freaks out over me saying Bush Guy this early in the video, I should probably clarify that story first. In my neighborhood, a lot of people went for the spooky type of scares. Things like vampires, witches, the howling of wolves, because that's what most people associate with Halloween. But one year, one of my neighbors decided he'd go a different route, and instead prioritize jump scares, regardless of the aesthetic, since Halloween is meant to be scary, after all. To achieve this goal, my neighbor created a bush suit. This man basically dressed up as the bushes from his front lawn, using what I assume were actual branches from them. After creating this cosplay, he spent the entire evening hiding among the shadows of his shrubbery, waiting for whoever dared walk by his house so he could give them the scare of a lifetime. The year where he jump scared me, I was with my siblings and our friends, some of whom were far enough behind that they didn't actually see him jump scaring us. So, after the first few of us got scared out of our skins, we sent him after one of my friends who hadn't seen him yet. This poor friend was just minding their own business, picking something out of the bowl of candies set in front of the house, when suddenly, bam! Giant anthropomorphic bush right behind them. That was almost 10 years ago, and I'll be honest, I have no idea why that friend still talks to me after I did them so dirty, but if you're that friend watching this right now, please know I love ya. You're very cool. Unfortunately, I think the year I first saw Bush Guy was also his last year as Bush Guy, the grand finale, if you will. Because for years after that one prank, whenever I went to his house on Halloween, one of his kids would open the door to hand out candy, and I'd always ask where Bush Guy was, only for them to say he wasn't doing that bit this year. Maybe one day, Bush Guy will make his long-awaited return. But until then, I can count on my other neighbors to keep up the Halloween spirit. There were a lot of fun things my neighbors would do that I still think about to this day. One of my neighbors set up a mini festival in their driveway with games, snacks, a spot to take photos. Like, dude, my siblings and I went out to walk for a couple hours and get candy, but on second thought, I think I'll just stay at your house and play games and watch movies or something until sunrise, because that sounds way more fun, not gonna lie. While my family didn't do as much when it came to decorations, we would blast ridiculously loud haunted house music that you could hear from all the way down the street. So loud that our parents would be grateful to go trick-or-treating with us just to get away from the noise. Oh, and one year, one of my neighbors must have been bored or something because he set up a fog machine on his lawn, probably pretending to be a vampire, and just said ominous stuff into a microphone at all the trick-or-treaters who walked past. I was probably 7 or 8 at the time, and to this day couldn't remember for the life of me what he said, but turns out my sister has a picture-perfect memory of that moment because she was absolutely terrified. She was 5 or 6, and our dad was taking us trick-or-treating around the neighborhood. Part of the fun of trick-or-treating with your parents as a younger kid is knowing that even if things seem super scary, your parents can probably do something to protect you. But this man, with his microphone and fog machine, shattered any hope of safety when he stared at us from across his lawn, leaned into his microphone, and said, "I will bite your daddy's finger." Truly a legend. But I think the award for the most extra house in my neighborhood goes to what my family lovingly refers to year-round as the witch house. Out of everyone in my neighborhood, these neighbors were determined to be the coolest house within a radius of 10 miles, to the point where they'd already be setting up decorations, practically building a whole set, weeks before Halloween. These neighbors transformed the outside of their home into a haunted house, with a spooky tunnel filled with jump scares, a metal fence blocking off an elaborate graveyard setup, and a fog machine clouding over everything. But the fun didn't stop there. When you'd finally make it to the front door to get your candy, there was a very realistic wax figure of a witch. She had ogre green skin, a long bumpy nose, and wait, no, she's not a wax figure after all! The witch lady would let out a characteristic cackle before pacing in the direction of the nearest trick-or-treaters, or as my friends liked to exaggerate at the time, she chased people down the street. At the time, it was the coolest thing ever, seeing a quote-unquote real witch on Halloween, and you could tell everyone running this haunted lawn was having so much fun, including the witch lady. I remember at my school bus stop the next day, hearing a mom who lived down the street, pretty far from the witch house, talking about how apparently it was her mother-in-law who played the witch for this random family, and my neighbor had no idea what was happening. I find that absolutely iconic of the mother-in-law to just join in this random family's Halloween shenanigans without even telling people about it ahead of time. To this day, that house is one of the most memorable things that comes to mind when I think of Halloween, and honestly, if I don't prank kids into thinking I'm a real live witch when I'm older, then I don't know what I'm doing with my Halloweens. Growing up, I really looked forward to trick-or-treating with my siblings and our friends, as well as seeing all the decorations and scares my neighbors had planned for us. I think it's pretty wholesome how my neighbors made a lot of happy memories for me and all the other kids in our area. Even though I'm unlikely to go trick-or-treating anytime soon, as I've gotten quite a bit older, I'm still excited for the future years where I'll be able to spread the magic of Halloween to the kiddos who knock on my door. I still think a lot about the cool things my neighbors did during Halloween, and my hope is to someday achieve that level of coolness. And if I can't do that, maybe I'll dress up as a bush and get at least a few screams out of my neighbors. Happy Halloween, my friends, and until next time, I'll surely see you around.
Ah, the newest Tumblr sexy man, anthropomorphic bush.
Oh my god.
Bushman.
Don't say it or it might happen.
I'm imagining you as like a mafia boss, like, alright, bush guy, sick 'em.
Yes.
Oh my god, at least you weren't boring.
That's great though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that sounds like so much fun.
It's kind of a lot of fun going all out, because, like, my neighborhood has a lot of kids in it, so everybody just wants to, like, spook all the kiddos. I feel bad, though, because, like, she got easily scared as a kid, so, like, she sees a guy being like, "I'll bite your daddy's finger," and she's like, "Oh no, not his finger!"
No!
Poor children.
Yeah, exactly. Like, some parents, like, most of this is just the parents being like, how much can I scare my neighbor's kids? I think one year my mom, like, tried to jump scare a bunch of people by, like, wearing a scream mask and opening the door and going, "Boo!" The only person she scared was a 2-year-old. And, like, they started crying, and she was like, no, don't cry!
Aww.
Some lady who, like, lived super far away from the witch house was like, apparently that witch was my mother-in-law.
Oh my god.
Mother-in-law,
It's like a secret
you don't
mystery.
know my personal life.
Exactly. Like, I guess the main moral of my neighborhood's Halloween is just, it's a bunch of, like, parents and grandparents being like, this is the one holiday where it's socially acceptable to scare people's children, so they just took full advantage of that. Because if you do it any other time of the year, the police get called, but if you do it on Halloween, it's like, whoa, what a good scare.
It's free game. I'll be honest, it sounds like you guys really go all out for Halloween.
Mm-hmm. The United States fucking loves Halloween.
Yeah, from the sounds of it. It sounds so fun.
What do they do in, like, the UK?
We have it, we celebrate it, we carve pumpkins and stuff. Most of the time, though, we either have a Halloween party for the little kids at someone's house or something, or you arrange a costume party, normally for someone whose birthday is in October, and you just get drunk. That's normally the extent of Halloween in the UK.
Do kids not go trick-or-treating?
They sometimes do, but I'll be honest, it's not really kind of encouraged. We do get a few trick-or-treaters every year, but literally it's normally less than 10.
Out here they have different places that are set up like a miniature fair, where you can go and choose one of the pumpkins they have lined up. Like it's a pumpkin patch, but it's also like got the big inflatable slides and carnival games and stuff.
Oh, that sounds so fun.
We'll have to treat you one day to a nice old American Halloween festival.
Heck yeah.
Hell yeah.
That'd be iconic.
During this most spooky of seasons, the three of us decided to get fuck.
Hell yeah, we wanted to get fucked.
Time to get fucked.